regarding Bill Clinton, I'm sorry to tell you, the reason that Bill Clinton's picture is in the Epstein files is because this has always been a story about Bill Clinton and not Donald Trump. We should call it the Clinton files, not the Epstein files. That's what we're learning tonight. This is the Clinton files. This is the blowing up in the face of the Democrats over this.
President Clinton and President Trump in these files. We've got new images now, some showing President Clinton in a pool with Ghislaine Maxwell and a person who is redacted.
So there's no dancing around this. The newly released Epstein files just dragged Bill Clinton straight back into the conversation. And this time, they don't just place him around Epstein, they frame him as actively offering someone else up. And the name that keeps popping up? Hillary Clinton. Now, for decades, Hillary Clinton has publicly protected Bill at all costs, politically, legally, and emotionally. That's why people froze when they noticed what she didn't do after these files surfaced. No defense, no cleanup tour, no coordinated pushback. Instead, she quietly created distance, and insiders immediately clocked it as intentional. So now everyone's asking the same thing. Did Hillary finally decide Bill was no longer worth shielding? Especially if the implication is that Epstein believed Bill was willing to offer her. And if that's true, what exactly did Hillary know before these files were unsealed?
This is also about Bill Clinton, and if you see in that first part, it talks about my friend had you know what with Clinton and others. So he is just as guilty as anybody else in this and needs to be brought down.
So this past week, the Justice Department finally dumped the Epstein files, over 300,000 pages hitting the public all at once. This included photos, flight logs, handwritten notes, grand jury material, and just enough redactions left in place to make it clear that some very powerful people are being protected. Now, as you guys probably know, Bill Clinton's name has floated around the Epstein story for years. That part didn't shock anyone. What did stop people cold was how different these documents read compared to past releases. Because this time, Bill isn't just mentioned as someone who crossed paths with Epstein. The language, the notes, and the surrounding context start painting him as someone Epstein felt comfortable speaking for, including when it came to women connected to him. And buried in that flood of documents were details that hit a very specific nerve. There were references to arrangements, mentions of offering introductions. The way it was worded reads a lot like Bill was up there facilitating Epstein's meetings with new people. And get this, the name that kept coming up in connection to this is Hillary Clinton's. What's even more interesting is that within hours of these files going live, Hillary Clinton didn't move to defend Bill. No statements, no loyal allies flooding the media, just distance. And that silence immediately sent people digging back through old interviews, old quotes, and old moments that suddenly don't sound so supportive anymore. Now here's where Hillary's silence gets uncomfortable, because if there's one thing she's been consistent about for decades, it's this. No matter what Bill did, she stood in front of him and took the hit with him. As you guys probably know, when the Monica Lewinsky scandal detonated in the late 90s, Hillary didn't just stay, she went on offense. Bill was impeached, dragged through hearings, and globally humiliated. And still, Hillary publicly rejected the idea that he abused his power, even years later when the culture had shifted and people were re-examining that era with fresh eyes. When Lewinsky herself said the relationship should be viewed as a gross abuse of power, Hillary shut that framing down immediately. When she was asked point blank if Bill should have resigned, her answer was a flat absolutely not. No hesitations.
Do you think Bill should have resigned, President Clinton should have resigned in the 90s in the wake of the Monica Lewinsky scandal?
Absolutely not.
So it wasn't an abuse of power?
No.
You do not believe he should have resigned?
No.
How do you contend with members of your own party now saying he should have?
That's their right to their opinion, but they were not in the middle of it.
And she didn't just protect him politically, she wrapped that defense into her own identity. She openly called staying in the marriage one of the gutsiest things she's ever done, because she had to stand next to him even though the jokes, the anger, and the embarrassment never really stopped. That loyalty followed Bill everywhere. Campaigns, book tours, interviews, even her own presidential run. Hillary Clinton made it clear again and again that whatever Bill Clinton did, she wasn't going to publicly abandon him, ever. So when these Epstein files dropped and Hillary didn't step in, that's when people started paying attention. Because this wasn't just another embarrassing chapter. It wasn't infidelity or some other political scandal they could spin. And considering how hard Hillary has fought for Bill in the past, people started wondering why this moment was the one she chose to step back. This is the point where the internet stopped arguing about whether Bill Clinton was connected to Epstein and started arguing about how deep it really went. Because Bill Clinton didn't just show up once or twice in those Epstein files, he was everywhere. And the key detail? The DOJ released these photos with almost no context, no locations or explanations, just the raw images images, forcing people to fill in the blanks on their own. Now here's where things took a turn. A tweet started circulating that said, "So apparently there are many Epstein files on the DOJ website where you can highlight the redacted text, copy it, and paste it onto another document to read the redactions." People tried it, and to their shock, in some cases, it worked.
The e-file slipped through with an unredacted version, and I want to show it to you, omitting certain words so that this video can stay up. This is also about Bill Clinton, and if you see in that first part, it talks about my friend had you know what with Clinton and others. So he is just as guilty as anybody else in this and needs to be brought down. Now take a look at this third bullet point though, because this one is the one that got through unredacted. It talks about another friend. One was of many girls that have relations with you-know-who. She confided in me about her casual friendship with him and definitely seemed to have a thing for her.
Suddenly, screenshots were everywhere, featuring passages that weren't supposed to be readable. And buried inside those allegedly redacted sections was the claim that detonated everything, that Bill Clinton had offered Hillary to Epstein. Whether that claim is ultimately proven or not, the fact that people are now talking about it being in the files reframed Bill's role from passive proximity to something much darker. And that's when people started zooming out, because Bill wouldn't be the first powerful man to do something like that. In fact, it seems like a normalized behavior for the men in Epstein's circle. For instance, Richard Hilton, Paris Hilton's father, has long been accused of offering Paris to Epstein when she was still a teenager. And in the same Epstein drop, there are photos showing Donald Trump partying with Epstein alongside his then wife Marla and their daughter Tiffany, who was a child at the time. Now here's where it gets really uncomfortable. As Bill Clinton is dragged back into the Epstein files yet again, Hillary hasn't rushed to his defense like she normally would. She's letting him take the fall for this one by himself. And this move starts to make more sense when you look at what's happening behind the scenes. In August, the House Oversight Committee subpoenaed both Hillary and Bill Clinton to testify as part of the Epstein investigation. And for months, the Clintons have reportedly been doing everything possible to avoid appearing in person. Because if Bill is forced to sit under oath and answer questions about Epstein, it wouldn't just reopen old wounds. It would permanently redefine his legacy. And this time, Bill's goodwill and political protection has dried up. Even his most hardcore Democrat supporters are calling for accountability and consequences. And Hillary is reading the writing on the wall. She knows that this isn't a scandal she can outrun, but if Bill goes down alone, she survives. If she ties herself to this again, she doesn't. To make matters worse, Bill isn't even trying to look in the mirror and take accountability. His office released a statement basically deflecting blame and trying to make it look like he is the real victim in all this.
This might be the greatest bluff of all time. Bill Clinton, as in Trump gave Kirk to Bubba Bill Clinton, and there may or may not be photos of it, demanding the release of the full Epstein files. Really said, brother, let's step into the light together. I'll go to jail if you go to jail, Donald. Maybe we can share a cell. Might be Bill Clinton taking one for the team in order to take down Trump.
And that might be the last straw for Hillary, the one thing she's not coming back from. But here's where the story twists again, because this Epstein drop isn't finished. Not even close. The Justice Department has already confirmed that more documents are coming in the next few weeks. But the fact that they failed to release everything at once told people one thing. This first drop wasn't about closure. It was about positioning. Because the political motive is obvious. By flooding the public with images of Bill Clinton, the DOJ redirected the spotlight away from Donald Trump's own documented proximity to Epstein, away from flight logs, photos, and timelines that still haven't been fully unpacked. Essentially, point the finger at Clinton, let the internet do the rest, and buy time. And it worked. Bill Clinton became the face of the release overnight, and while Trump's Epstein connections were acknowledged, they weren't centered. Which raises the question that nobody in power wants to answer out loud. When the next batch drops, does the target stay the same? Or does the focus shift? So now Bill Clinton is taking the hit alone. The photos are out, the pressure is on, and for the first time in decades, Hillary isn't stepping in front of it. A lot of people feel like this is betrayal. After all, they've already been through so much together. So what's one more scandal? But others know that Hillary is seeing the writing on the wall. With more Epstein files still coming, the real question isn't whether Bill's story gets worse. It's whether Hillary already knows it will and chose not to stand in front of that moving train this time.